Kia ora tātou. Today is Waitangi Day, 6th of February. It's a really significant day for all New Zealanders. And I've got Christine De Maine joining me today. And Christine, hello, and thanks for being here. Tēnā koe. And would you like to just tell us a little bit about who you are, where you are, and what you do, please?
Kia ora, tēnā koe. Mōrena, ko Christine Tucker Engler. So my name is Christine. I am the Pokarekare ki te tai aroha. It's currently my formal title for Te Ipo Whakaora, the Salvation Army, based in Ōtautahi. And I am a Salvation Army officer. I've been a part of Te Tai Aroha Māori Ministries for the last 6 years, going into year 7. My name is Christine, so I whakapapa to Te Arawa and to Ngāpuhi, which is up in the North Island. My hapu is Ngāti Rangatihi and whānau pani up in Ngāpuhi. I also have English, Scottish and Irish ancestors as well, so I have a bit of this dynamic that goes on for many of our whānau. And I'm a mum with 2 boys, and at the moment single spouse officer. So my husband Nigel is currently working in a Christian school, so we served together 17 years of ministry together, and now he's wonderfully serving the Lord in a Christian school, which is great. So that's a little bit about me. And who I am and what I do. And I love living in Christchurch. I do things from recovery church through to taking part in encouraging our Salvation Army officers and how they can embrace our Māori whānau, kind of give them cultural advice and support. And I kind of do that across the organisation, the movement, and especially across Christchurch and the South Island, Te Waitangi. So yeah.
Cool, great to learn a little bit more about you. And it's really around that cultural advice and support that I wanted to just get some ideas from you on today around Waitangi Day. But actually, let's start with what does a day mean to you personally? It's wahine Māori. Is the day of special significance to you?
It is actually. So for me, Waitangi Day is Matariki is right up there being really important. When I was a little girl and growing up, it wasn't really something that as a whānau and myself personally kind of felt a significance towards. But as I've gotten older and as I've pushed into being a wahine, a Māori wahine in Aotearoa, it's become more of a significance for me in terms of acknowledging for myself my heritage, the past. Catherine Booth often is quoted as saying, we must reflect and look to the past if we want to steer the present, better the future. And, for Māori, we're always looking to the past for who we are in the present so that we can look to the future. And I've realised that for myself personally, Waitangi Day is really important. And I've had the privilege to be in Waitangi for Waitangi Day and for the lead up to that for the last 2 years. This year, I'm staying put, so I'm kind of grounding myself in Ōtautahi. But as I have grown in my understanding of looking at the history of Aotearoa, at looking at my own family and what we do together, it's become an important day for me.
Oh, and I know I've seen on Facebook a lot of posts often around Waitangi Day of Salvationists up at Waitangi, and it does look like it's a pretty amazing place to actually be there for it. Yeah, I'm sure lots of our Salvationists will be there right now having a blast and
absolutely
not just having a fun time, but I imagine that it's quite a sacred time to be there. Like you say, you reflect back on what has happened and acknowledge our part in that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think as a nation, being there for the dawn service particularly, but also for the things that lead into Waitangi Day at Waitangi, it's this absolutely electric kind of space to be there with thousands of others from around the motu, from around the country, coming together, Māori, non-Māori, and everything else in between, to be able to kind of sit together as we continue to have discussions, kōrero, to sing, to have fun, even in that space, you know, to go to the beach and to just, again, reflect on how far we have come, because Waitangi and the treaty was signed about 186 years ago, roughly. So it's been a big part of our history and how it has formed us as a nation and as a country, not just for Māori and not just for the Crown and for Pākehā, but actually for all people that live in Aotearoa, right? Because it is something that we hear all the time on TV. It is something that our kids are now learning in school, and it is a big part of our history.
So you've touched on where I was wanting to go next, which is to ask then, is it a day just for Māori? I mean, I don't think it should be, but as a Pākehā, how can I get involved in an appropriate way and celebrate it? And of course, New Zealand is so multicultural now. It's nice to think of it as something that the whole country can get behind. Yeah, could you maybe give us some ideas and speak into that a little more?
Absolutely, because I do think Waitangi Day is actually for everybody together. We don't have that many national holidays, public holidays in Aotearoa that are actually uniquely for Aotearoa, for New Zealand. And Waitangi Day is one of those things, as with Matariki. So I would say that the treaty, actually it's not just for Māori, but it's for everybody, and there are parts of that story that we can all learn from. And even in today's present, in terms of being, what does it mean for me now? I'm not Māori, what does that mean? I think it is a space where you can get involved in your local activities. A lot of marae do tend to open up, and they open up to the wider community to invite all to come in to commemorate what happened, you know, all those years ago. And I love that, because the manaaki, the hospitality, the feeling of unity, kotahitanga, as we come together into one space, I think is beautiful, and it's for all who live in New Zealand. And I think that's a really beautiful part of Waitangi. So if it's doing a hikoi, so in Ōtautahi, we have a hikoi happening today, but also all Nuku Marae over in Akaroa are opening up their marae and welcoming the community, because it is one of the 3 places in the South Island that, and actually it is the first place that when the treaty arrived in the South Island, that was one of the first places it was signed. Okay. So it is really a special day, and it was signed not in February, but it was actually signed by the time the treaty arrived in the South Island and to Akaroa. It arrived around about May, June of that year when it was signed, but it's still worth commemorating and sitting with the whānau, because you know, I have whānau who were involved in those discussions when the treaty was signed. So on my Te Arawa side, they decided not to, but on my Ngāpuhi side, many of my ancestors did sign the treaty. So it's worthwhile just remembering that this is part of a bigger discussion. And even for us within the church, Te Opa Whakaora, the Salvation Army were not present on that very day, but the church was, because the missionaries were involved. And so we played our part in that, and I think it's delightful, because when I go to marae, especially on Waitangi Day, they welcome us warmly to be a part of their commemorations. And the last few years, Bishop Kito oversights the dawn and the 11 o'clock service at Waitangi, and he's been very proactive about making sure that politicians and church leaders, Salvation Army included, are a part of those celebrations.
Cool. Well, you've just given us quite a lot to think about there. But I really love, though, just the suggestion that, I mean, not everyone get to Waitangi. Lovely if you can, but not everyone can. But there will be things happening in your local community, and that's just beautiful to think of the maraes opening up for people to come and be part of. So maybe that's a suggestion for someone watching. Perhaps if you're watching today on Waitangi, it might not be too late. You could find a special way to celebrate this day.
Absolutely. And if it is too late, it's something to think about for next year, right? But I would say to all those, you know, sit with your whānau, with your family, enjoy the day, eat good food, enjoy being with each other, rest and relax, and be thankful, grateful for living in a country like we can New Zealand. We're so blessed to have the freedom to join with each other, to invite others into our homes, to have that freedom to do that, and just spend it with really good people, with your favourite people.
That sounds like a good idea. Well, thank you for sharing your thoughts with us, Christine, and for those watching, whatever you're up to today, we hope you have a fantastic day.
Kia ora, thank you so much.